cities in Amhara state. Good evening to you all. A very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Gurum Tariku. The U.S. Department of State said on Tuesday that it is gravely concerned by the reports of atrocities, including sexual violence, committed by the TPLF fighters in the Amhara region of Ethiopia in late August and early September 2021, as described in a recent Amnesty International report. It remains U.S. firm position that there must be credible investigations into and accountability for atrocities as part of any lasting solution to the crisis. Spokesperson of the U.S. Department of State, Ned Price, said continued reports of atrocities underscored the urgency of ending the ongoing military conflict. The U.S. continues to engage parties to the conflict to urge a halt to the violence, an end to atrocities, and unhindered provision of life-saving humanitarian assistance, and a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The state Global Ethiopian Advocacy says the victory of Adwa is a symbol of freedom of black people. Historically, the then victory of Adwa initiated movement of Pan-Africanism, and the current #NoMore movement initiated.
During the scramble for Africa, every indigenous nation that was invaded by European powers fell within a matter of decades. All except one. March 1, 1896, Battle of Adwa, a military clash at Adwa in north-central Ethiopia between the Ethiopian army of Emperor Menelik II and Italian forces. The Ethiopian army's victory checked Italy's attempt to build an empire in Africa. The victory had further significance for being the first crushing defeat of a European power by African forces during the colonial era. Birhanu Taddesa from Global Ethiopian Advocacy told ETV how the victory of Adwa made Ethiopia's position among the international community quite different.
Because of that victory, Ethiopia's position in the world is quite different. Ethiopia is a founding member of the League of Nations and the United Nations, unlike any other African country, and is in the forefront of the liberation of Africa from colonialism, and as such has been labeled as the primary enemy of colonizers. And that's probably what is now causing a lot of problems that Ethiopia is facing by Western support for terrorist organizations in Ethiopia.
He also added that the #NoMore movement can easily be related to the victory of Adwa in terms of
with that, because no more to neocolonialism, no more to intervention. Ethiopia and Africa can decide their fates on their own, and they can handle their issues, and they do not need any Western or neo-colonial stand together, to fight together, to make your voice heard together. Because colonialists or any invaders can only defeat you when you are divided. Despite all the difficulties that Ethiopia had of not having a standing army, not having a well-equipped army, but had the people who are willing to protect their freedom and their territorial integrity. So if Africa follows this example, colonialism cannot set foot in Africa anymore.
Birhanu further noted that the current generation should learn the history of forefathers and think critically than getting swayed by wrong opinion leaders only.
There are a number of things that the current generation has to learn from our forefathers who defeated colonialists then. Our forefathers defeated colonialists not because they had modern equipment, but because they stood together. The second one is review the education that they've taken. Learn to cross-question any group interests. They do not represent the mass of the people. They represent a group interest. And therefore, if we can get a generation that can question that, asks for reasons, asks for background history, then they will not be dragged into violent activities and activities that are counterproductive to their education, to their country, and to their well-being. So, two things. Learn the history of your forefathers and critically think through what political cadres and political organizations tell you to promote their own interests.
Historically, the then victory of Adwa initiated the movement of Pan-Africanism, and the current #NoMore movement initiated the European powers to flee some African nations.
What we see in the West now is that Western governments are creating a neo-colonial and imperialist agenda which focuses on taking the resources of developing countries. So they want to take the resources, not peacefully. They send in their own troops, they send in looters, and that is what's happening in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, for example. A very rich and mineral endowed country is one of the poorest countries in the world where wars are going on. So this generation has to learn that history, that experience, and also understand that neocolonialism and imperialism are still real today. And in fact, Ethiopia is being penalized for being the lead country against neocolonialism and against black resistance against imperialism and neocolonialism. Therefore, Ethiopians of this generation should be proud of this history and should take this history forward and own it and be proud of it and teach their kids.
This is the white oil.
Light up her house, a bottle kerosene lamp. She lives in a village 2 hours drive north.
አልፎ የህብረተሰቡን ኑሮ ለመለወጥ ለሚደረገው ጉዞና ለሀገራችን ኢኮኖሚ አስተዋጽኦ ለማድረግ በመብቃቱ ይህ በእኛ ትውልድ የአባቶቻችንን ህልም ለማሳካት በመቻላችን ኩራትና ደስታ ይሰማናል።
የታችኛው ተፋሰስ ሀገራት ወንድም የግብጽና የሱዳን ህዝቦች ልላችሁ ፈልጋለሁ።
This project for not a common project. It is not something that comes every day. We have done a lot of projects together.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says Ethiopia wants to work in collaboration with its Sudanese and Egyptian brothers and sisters regarding the utilization of Abai River. Ethiopia does not resort to other options than collaboration with downstream nations, the Premier underscored. The Premier has also urged the downstream country details.
The House of People's Representatives convened the issues raised was issues in connection to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which launched the first round of power generation in Sunday. The Premier reiterated on the importance of cooperation with the riparian countries.
ናይልን በሚመለከት በመጀመሪያ ግድቡን በሚመለከት ከግብጽ ወንድሞቻችን
We want to collaborate with the Egyptian and the Sudanese brother people on the Abai River. We want to work through negotiation and dialogue. We do not want any other alternative. In the past, we said that we didn't want to stop the flow of the Nile. Our desire was to generate energy. Many would not have thought and believed that it could be so easy that the water would hit the turbine and follow its natural course. When we started the first power generation process yesterday, the water hit the turbine and went down. Sudan has a right to use this water and Egypt has a right. Ethiopia also has a right to use the water. It is good for us to work together and
በሁሉም መንገድ በድርድርና በጋራ ብንሰራ ይጠቅመናል። ሱዳንም ጨለማ ነው፣ ኢትዮጵያም ጨለማ ነው።
The Prime Minister assured the riparian countries of the river in connection with the dam, and he described the benefits of working together.
እኛ ኢነርጂ ብናመርት ሱዳን
if we produce energy, if Sudan works on irrigation and if we share, we will all have enough. There is no point in arguing over words. The door in Ethiopia is always open as long as there is a solution that benefits all of us. I want to remind you not to worry.
The PM urged the downstream countries to join and rectify the cooperative framework agreement as it equally benefits all.
የተፋሰሱ ሀገራት
There are riparian countries that have signed the agreement. Work is being done on others. But this is not an issue that needs to be addressed by Ethiopia alone, its own benefit, and use it for common development. There are some countries who suffer.
Regarding the release of prisoners, the Premier said the decision was made for 3 reasons: to bring lasting peace, taking into consideration the overall situation of the prisoners, and to consolidate victory. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed also said Ethiopia's future direction can be summed up in 5 Ds: defense, dialogue, democracy, development, and diplomacy.
As a teenager coming here, I was really drawn to the countryside area, to the tribal areas. How could you not? But as you dedicate more years here, you really begin to see the nuance of the country.
Hello, my friend.
The city culture, the overlooked things. This book is about weaving together all these diverse places and people and uniting them in one cohesive style. Ethiopia is all of these things combined into one.
State Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Redwan Hussain, had a series of meetings with Office of the Prime Minister of Pakistan Board of Investment, the Chamber of Commerce of Islamabad, company CEOs in Pakistan, and representatives of Center for Institute of Strategic Studies, Islamabad. Islamabad's Chamber of Commerce and Industry expressed the interest of its members to do business with Ethiopian business people and cooperate with the Ethiopian Chamber of Commerce and sectoral associations. The Chamber has shown great interest to work with the Ethiopian business community to import and export different products and work on joint ventures, while requesting for options for the issuance and a direct flight of Ethiopian Airlines to Karachi was also on pharmaceutical, manufacturing, agro-processing, textiles, and leather sectors. He also explained the development of industrial parks by the government to make investing in Ethiopia more attractive to foreign investors. Ethiopia imports mainly sugar products, rice, packaging bags, and medical supplies from Pakistan, while exporting cereals, tea leaves, spices, and textiles to Pakistan. During the discussion with members of the Board of Investment, Chairman Mohammed Azaf Arhan stressed that Pakistan considers Ethiopia to be one of the centerpieces of its Engage Africa initiative, while Ethiopia can come to rely on Pakistan as a trusted all-weather partner in the global south. Ambassador Redwan pointed out that Ethiopia is set to establish its permanent mission in Pakistan soon and underscored the need to set a regular mechanism of interaction between business associations and chambers of the two countries. The chairman finally invited Ethiopia in 2022. In related news, Ethiopian delegation had also a meeting with the leaders of the Center for Institute of Strategic Studies, Islamabad. Members of the Ethiopian Economic Association commended a swift joining of African Continental Free Trade Area for Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Economic Association, for its part, said the country has made preparations to join African Continental Free Trade Agreement to enjoy a wide range of benefits
and product quality, diversifying products, expanding domestic and international market destinations, substituting imports, and reducing wastage in all areas are vital ways to avert the economic challenges in Ethiopia, according to the Ethiopian Economics Association. Following the Economic Association has held a policy dialogue consultative meeting on Wednesday with its members at the presence of high government officials, including other stakeholders. During the occasion, Kabur Garna said that in terms of the market benefits, joining African Continental Free Trade Area helps Ethiopia to be part of the accelerating intra-African trade and boosting Africa's trading position, the global market by strengthening Africa's common voice and policy space in global trade negotiations.
In terms of opportunities, you have a large market, 1.2 billion actually market. And then you have actually the tariff reduction, which would allow actually businesses to do, to do business easily. And it also helps consumer to get, various products at very reasonable prices. But more importantly, also it invigorates African businesses. They will start actually looking beyond their national border. The major benefit.
Muse Mendai at the Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration on his part also underscored that Ethiopia has made preparations to join Continental Free Trade Area to ensure a wide range of benefits and opportunities.
Yeah, the government is doing his best normally to enter to a safety agreement. Ethiopia is a founder. We are signing of that agreement, as well as within a year we are ratifying of that agreement, as well as we are repositing of this agreement. So the government is highly committed for that, and also the other, maybe the difficult part for us is that this one is historically the first agreement that Ethiopia signed. We don't have any free trade agreement at the regional level as well as at the continental level. So we'll be carefully seeing of all the negotiation documents, but we are in good progress. What we are expecting that we have already finished the goods offer, the 90% of liberalization. That means that 90% of level of ambition is already, the products are identified. The 7% sensitive one and the 3% exclusion is already identified by the government.
The members further recommended that the government should work aggressively to help Ethiopia join the African Continental Free Trade Area with a fast move working with the private sector.
I think they have to move fast in terms of working closer with the private sector, one. And secondly, they have to look at all the regulations and rules that needs to be modernized, improved. Some work has been already done in this area, but more needs to be done. And they have to have a very dynamic, actually, relationship, as I said, between the private sector and the government authorities that deal with this issue.
The main problem what we are facing is that the private sector does not expose well, so we are doing a sensitization program for the private sector, as well as the exposure of the private sector is also, economy is somewhat protected relative to other African countries, because the other African countries already opened their sectors due to colonization and other different structural adjustment programs. So these kind of things may be the difficult part for our government.
Although Ethiopia's economy has been growing fast over a couple of decades, it has slowed down due to such factors like the conflict in North Ethiopia and COVID-19 pandemic.
Industry Minister Melaku Alabal received a delegation from Moscow led by head of Russian sending with Ethiopia during several trying times. Russia offered its full support to Ethiopia, while some Western powers were pressuring the country at the international platforms like the UN Security Council. Melaku also briefed the Russian delegation that Ethiopia is implementing integrated national policies and strategies to alleviate poverty, ensure sustainable development, and build democratic culture. The government Central Research Institute of Ferrous Metallurgy, Semenov Victor, on his part said Ethiopia is located in a good strategic position, and this condition has created a golden opportunity to attract foreign direct investment. To share their immense experience and expertise to Ethiopians by investing in the steel and metal industry sector of the country. Time now for Forex update. Let's have a look.